Hello everyone. Today I will tell you about the film The Beekeeper. Enjoy watching. The film, based on Jason Statham's subconscious desire to kill, begins in a barn where a beehive has taken up residence. Beekeeper Adam Slay goes to confiscate a nest of honey donors. He was asked to do so by Mrs. Parker, the owner of the farm where he lives. The woman invites him for tea in the evening, after which Adam gets rid of the bees in the barn using neon from a lamp and a stun gun. While the lodger is working in the apiary collecting honey, the owner sees a message on the screen that her computer is infected with a virus. To save the data, she needs to urgently call the specified number. Mickey, another fake security officer, but already a fraudster at the head of an entire corporation. Mickey intimidates Mrs. Parker with stories that her data will disappear without a trace. To prevent this from happening, she must install a new version of the antivirus. The woman's ignorance allows Mickey to convince her to go to the specified address and personally download the virus from there. This is how the scammers gain access to the personal information of Mrs. Parker, a retired teacher. However, she has over $2 million in her account. To spin such a loot, Mika pretends to pay compensation for the inconvenience caused, but by mistake he transfers $50,000 instead of $500. He plays on her pity, convincing her to transfer the difference back. After checking the balance, the victim enters a password which is intercepted by the scammers. Immediately after this, the computer is turned off, and the money is transferred to another account. Mrs. Parker realizes that she has become a victim of scammers, but there is nothing she can do. Adam Slay fills a jar of honey to treat the owner. He goes to visit, but no one answers the knock. Hearing the alarm, the man goes inside and turns it off. Taking a knife from the kitchen, he goes into the next room. There on the floor lies a gun with an empty shell and bloodstains. Verona Parker, the owner's daughter and FBI agent Takuchi, takes him at gunpoint. She arrests Adam, mistaking him for a thief, but, putting on handcuffs, notices that her mother is in a chair. She put a bullet in her head. When the police arrive, Verona accuses him of murder, although he only brought honey. Adam is taken to the station and Verona inspects the house. She sees a laptop with an open page of an empty account. In the morning, the cops bring the man back. No evidence of involvement in the murder was found. The woman goes to the barn to apologize for the accusation. Verona invites him for a drink. During the conversation, it turns out that the scammers stole not the mother's money, but the fund of the children's center, which she managed. Colleagues from the cybercrime department say that even if they manage to track down the scammers, it is unlikely that they will be able to prove guilt. The lawyers will hush everything up. Adam goes to the apiary where he gets a hidden satellite phone from the hive. He calls a former colleague with a request to identify the scammers, but warns that the FBI specialists were unable to do anything. After a while, she calls back. Although the thieves were cleverly encrypted, she found out their address. Grabbing 2 canisters of gasoline, Adam goes to the office to have an educational conversation. At the entrance, he is met by security guards and politely asked to get out of there. After a short dialogue, the guards fell without creating, and Adam drags the canisters into the building. In the file, he asks the secretary where the right office is, after which he orders the fire alarm to be turned on. In the office, the man tells the scammers to stop stealing for persuasiveness, showing on the first person he comes across what awaits those who disobey. To prevent the scammers from returning to illegal activity, Adam pours gasoline all over the place. He is distracted by Mickey and his security. The manager tells the big guys to deal with the uninvited guest, but the beekeeper copes with them without any problems. When the security is over, he scares Mickey and installs a bomb on the canisters, which will respond to the first call from the next victim. Before he can drive away, an explosion destroys the office. Mickey reports the incident to his boss, Derek Danforth, the head of the company of the same name. To figure out the Greyhound type, Derek turns to Westwild, now the head of security at Danford Enterprises. He asks not to bother him with trifles, after which Derek tells Mickey to find the loner by checking the company's recent affairs. Suddenly, a connection will appear. Mickey and a squad of thugs arrive at Mrs. Parker's farm, where they notice a stranger who caused an explosion. But, realizing the scale of the tragedy, they shoot at the hives in the apiary, signing their death warrant. The bandits break into Adam's barn. While they wander among the shelves, the owner grabs one and threatens with a screwdriver. Deciding not to dirty the tool, the beekeeper strangles the mercenary. He carefully breaks the neck of the second, who does not even have time to say anything. Adam hits the third guest with a barrel torn from a gun and hospitably kicks. Mickey opens fire at the noise, but misses. To stop him from messing around anymore, Adam cuts off his fingers with a saw and leaves him lying there. Verona is called to the crime scene by her partner to look at the blown-up office of telephone scammers. Then they receive a signal about a fire in her mother's house, where Adam left several corpses. Thanks to the documents found, the feds understand that the 2 cases are connected. Mickey calls his boss from the drawbridge. Suddenly, Derek hears a stranger attacking his subordinate. He ties Mickey to a pickup truck, which he throws off the bridge. Then Adam picks up the phone and warns Derek that he will definitely not survive in these games. Derek goes to Westwild again. He says that he resigned as CIA director at the personal request of Derek's mother in order to look after him. And he managed to incur the wrath of a beekeeper, a representative of the most secret intelligence service of the country, which even the CIA director is not informed about. The beekeeper is a real professional in his field. Westwild calls Jessica Danford to discuss the situation with her son. Using his connections, the former head of the CIA asks the current director to stop the Beekeeper, but it turns out that Adam Slay quit long ago. Nevertheless, one of the Beekeepers is sent for his soul. At a gas station, a car crashes into Adam's pickup truck. At the wheel is a girl, an active Beekeeper. She opens fire on her former colleague and kills the police officers who drove up. Taking advantage of the pause, Adam throws a hose at her, practicing light strangulation with beating. Realizing that she is losing the fight, the girl takes out a stationary machine gun in the back, but, having received a jar of honey to the head, calms down. Adam throws a lighter, and the remains of gasoline from the hose flare up. While the girl is burning alive, the man picks up the fallen knife and cuts off her index finger, which he carefully puts in a bag. Having borrowed a car from a random witness, he drives away. He travels to the base of the murdered colleague, using the severed finger as a key to replenish supplies and plan an attack on the 9 Points office. Westwild is informed that the target was not eliminated. The problem is not solved. In addition, the Beekeepers refuse to interfere with the colleague's duty in the future. Westwild assembles a squad of mercenaries for protection. He explains that the Beekeepers do not answer to anyone. Their only goal is to take care of the hive. If the queen produces sick offspring, the bees stage a riot to kill her. It is suspected that Adam has a similar goal. Verona, walking along a path of corpses, finds a manual for beekeepers at a gas station. After analyzing Adam's route, she and her partner realize that he is heading to Boston, to the 9 Points office, from where they ran the centers of telephone scammers. The agents are invited to meet with the deputy director of the FBI, Prig. Verona shares her thoughts and asks to issue a SWAT team to detain him. Prig does not share the version about the Secret Service of beekeepers, but the Special Forces single them out. Near the 9 Points building, the Special Forces encounter mercenaries. They have orders to hold the defense inside while the FBI is on duty outside. Having distributed the duties, the soldiers disperse. But then Adam brazenly appears. He politely asks the Special Forces to get out of the way, but having received a refusal, he is forced to beat up the entire squad, not hesitating to shoot at bulletproof vests and punch tactical helmets from the elbow. Having grabbed a hostage, Adam goes into the building. At this time, the manager of the scammers calls Derek to call off the mercenaries who are interfering with ripping off citizens. Having received the order, the mercenaries leave to the joyful claps of the scammers, among whom Adam has wormed his way. The Beekeeper suggests that the thieves leave the building without making too much noise, but then the mercenaries return and start shooting. Adam hides in the corridors of the business center, hiding on the ceiling and making sudden attacks from above. Having turned on the fire alarm, he attacks the leader of the mercenaries who, taken by surprise, kills the entire squad. Adam then beats him up, finishing it off with a fire extinguisher. The FBI Special Forces storm the building. Adam sets a trap using taut cables. He manages to hide on the roof of the elevator when the Special Forces break in. The soldiers open fire, but miss Adam. When the ammo runs out, the Beekeeper blows up the elevator cable. It rushes down, dragging the feds along. Adam visits the office manager to find out who was behind the scammers. While beating him to make him compliant, the man learns the name Derek Danforth, after which he wants to leave. But then Verona comes into the office. She persuades the Beekeeper to surrender, but he prefers to leave, beating up her partner along the way. But the FBI finds out that he will be the next target, and they don't like it. Having learned that Adam has slipped away again, Westville informs Jessica Danforth, who turns out to be none other than the President of the United States. Verona informs Deputy Director Prig that Danforth's election campaign was sponsored by her company, which was transferred to her son's management. That is, essentially stolen money. In addition, secret CIA developments were used for the fraud. Now the Beekeeper goes to restore justice, choosing the defective Queen of the Hive as a target. Ordering no one to tell about it, Prig increases funding for the operation to capture the dangerous veteran. Derek goes to the presidential mansion, where a party is planned, and the Secret Service is responsible for security. Verona and her partner also arrive there. In addition, Westwild hires mercenaries led by Lazarus. He once survived an encounter with a Beekeeper, losing a leg in the process. Jessica is also delivered by helicopter. Only Derek does not take the situation seriously, continuing to throw powder. While security inspects incoming trucks, Adam sneaks into the territory through the sewer drain, dressed in a Secret Service uniform. Having got out of the sewer, he clings to the bottom of the truck, but not in order to get to the mansion this way. The Beekeeper strangles the inspecting agent and switches places with him, putting on a balaclava for camouflage. While the security flaps its ears out of tune, Adam secretly minds the cars. Then he changes into a decent suit in the bushes to take the guest for a ride. The Beekeeper, unrecognized by anyone, brazenly wanders around the house, tracking down targets. Verona notices that Prick is talking to the president and suspects that he is in cahoots with her. Later, the deputy director, the president, and her son gather in the office to discuss the pressing issue. Verona notices Adam among the guests and gives the command. In addition to the Secret Service, mercenaries join Lovelah. The FBI pursue the Beekeeper, confusing him with other guests and unaware that he is luring them into a trap away from the house. Lazarus wants to kill Adam, barely catching up, but Verona prevents him. After waiting for a convenient moment, Adam activates the explosives. Taking advantage of the confusion, he wounds Lazarus again, shooting him in the jaw, after which he fights his way into the house, shooting everyone who gets in the way and leaving those who don't get in the way. He also creates panic among the civilian guests by shooting into the air, after which he climbs the stairs, scattering everyone in his path. Already in front of the office, Lazarus attacks him. The mercenary manages to impose a protracted fight, despite his wounds, and even manages to stab the beekeeper with a knife. But he cleverly takes advantage. He kicks out the prosthesis, after which he beats up the bruiser. Preparing to blow up the lock, Adam ignores Westwild's admonition, preparing to restore justice. When he blocks the way, the beekeeper politely breaks the old man's arm. Sitting in the office, the president hears the noise of the fight outside. Realizing that the guards are not enough, she comes up with a new plan, to confess everything to earn a chance at pardon. However, the spoiled son is not satisfied with this. He takes a revolver out of the drawer and shoots Prigo. There is an explosion. The beekeeper appears in a cloud of smoke. The FBI runs out of another door. Derek holds his mother hostage, but this does not stop Adam. Glancing at the ocean outside the window, he turns to Verona, reminding her that Major cannot legally be held accountable for her mother's death. Adam makes one accurate shot right in the forehead of Derek. Then he jumps out the window and runs away. Verona, having called him, holds the gun at gunpoint, but lowers the barrel in gratitude for him avenging her mother. The Secret Service pursues the fugitive, but he is prepared. He hid his diving suit in advance and dives into the water,